and welcome to another brand new episode of the Top 10. I am John Roca.
And I am Matt Nost, and we are back for another week of a movie discussion here on the Top 10. How are you, sir?
I'm good. You know, it's heating up down here in San Diego, starting to feel that summer coming around the corner now. I know we're in April, so logically it's when you're supposed to feel it. I just wanted to enjoy the cold for just a little bit longer before it started to get insufferably hot in the house and what have you, because we don't have central air. So the fans, we're going to have to dust off the fans and bring them out into our separate rooms. So yeah, that's my life now. How are you?
Well, hopefully, last couple summers have been fairly mild by Southern California standards.
It's a good point. Yep.
So hopefully this is, because I think it trails off pretty quickly. I think it's hot for the next 3 days or so, something like that, and then starts to recede again. So hopefully that's the case.
I mean, we've had a lot of rain. So at different intervals, as you just said, like it starts out in certain ways and then it kind of adjusts. So maybe there's some cold days coming, as you said, or maybe some rainy days coming, which always puts me in a better place, to be honest with you. So
yeah, just that extreme heat.
I don't know how I've survived this long in California, because I like the cold, so I don't know. I guess it's necessary evil of being out here,
I like the cold to a degree.
Yeah, well, you live rather in Chicago, so that's real fucking cold,
I've lived in Illinois. I haven't lived in Chicago.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Illinois. And like my parents lived for a long time in Colorado, and I don't mind going and visiting it, but at the same time, to have to deal with it day in, day out, it's completely different as opposed to I'm just here for a week.
Right.
If you're there for a week and be like, it's not so bad, it's throw on a coat, make it from point A to point B. But when it's every day, it's like, no thanks. Just because you're just shuttling from one interior place to another interior place constantly. So I'll take the heat we have out here just because the winter is so mild.
Yeah.
That I can still do stuff and get out, and I don't know. There's some active nature to life as opposed to just being stuck indoors for months at a time.
Yeah.
No bueno. But enough with weather talk. You know what I mean?
Please. What do you got?
Enough with weather talk. I have nothing. Officially, Supreme Court Jackson was.
Oh wow, we're going there. Okay.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't know whether that's the news of today, right before we started.
I'm cool with it, man. Yeah.
53-47 was the final Senate confirmation. So
yes,
that's our new Supreme Court justice.
It's a good thing.
Let's see.
I mean, I'm happy for it. I mean, look, you're bringing up, so I'm going to say, like, I'm happy that in the last 14 years of our lifetime, we had a black president, we have a black vice president, and we have the first black female Supreme Court justice. And really, I'm even more excited to have a black Supreme Court justice who isn't beholden to a cult leader sitting on the highest court of the land. So I'm very happy for that. And all the craziness has been going on in the world and all the feelings like, oh my God, what's the point? Here's yet another example of how there is a desire here to do something better, to create something better in this world. And hopefully in the end, it will yield some positive results down the road, to balance things out. So and she's incredibly qualified, and they tried to make something out of those child pornography cases, which is really stupid and short-sighted. And a bunch of lawyers came forward and said, established lawyers said it was ridiculous. Yeah.
The same individuals voted her.
Oh yeah.
For the highest court, not named the Supreme Court a year ago. So this was all just grandstanding show for the upcoming midterms.
Yeah.
It's part of the grandstanding of politics. It's unfortunate that she was caught in the crossfire of re-election campaigns, but that's precisely what happened.
And it's a shame, dude. I don't think it used to be this way. I mean, we've been around, you and I have been around for a while, and I don't remember it being this divisive so overtly.
In our lifetime, no. Do I think it's been this divisive in the country's history? Undoubtedly.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I mean, the Civil War.
I will point you to
I'm just saying.
War.
we were almost torn asunder.
Yeah, true.
So, and there have been, I read it was like a year ago, and everybody was having this sentiment, and there was a study that came out and be like, look, this isn't the worst that it's been. And there was a breakdown of the contentiousness of over the years
Yeah.
when this has happened in Congress, where they've just been fully deadlocked on both sides, and it's just a middle finger to each opposing party without listening to what the other's saying. It's happened before, and it's going to happen again. Hopefully we sail right through this and we get to a more, bonhomie, congenial time in the next few years. And then I think it's just ebb and flow. But, congrats to her and her family. There's
Absolutely.
I'm sure that wasn't a fun process to go through, even if it was going to be a breeze of a confirmation. It's still the amount of stress and everything.
Yeah, and I just love how this idea of them grabbing onto, well, certain people rather, not them, certain people grabbing onto this idea. Well, she couldn't define a woman. Well, now these people who've been saying that are getting questioned at their press conferences about what is a woman. And it's like I think it's Hawley, Josh Hawley was like, they asked him, what's a woman? He's like, a woman is a person who can make babies. Well, what happens when a woman can't make babies? Well, they're still a woman because they have a uterus. Well, what if what if they have a hysterectomy and have it removed because of well, they're still, they can be. And so it's like, it's just a vagina. Well, what about hermaphrodites? Which way are we going? And so it's just a fascinating thing that these people think it's such a simple fucking concept. And it really isn't, and I love that. I love that they're getting called out on this made up bullshit because they had nothing else to hang on her. Absolutely nothing. So they fabricated something out of thin air, man.
Yeah. But yeah, I entertainment wise, I don't think there's a whole lot of news for today that I saw.
Ezra Miller thing. What's your thoughts on that, man? WB is pausing some of the projects on Ezra because
Ezra's it's kind of doing shit that it makes them go, hey, easy there, fella.
Slow down there.
Easy there, fella.
Whoa, Big Daddy. Whoa.
Well, and the fact of the matter is, be one thing if you already had Flash and it was a runaway success.
Right.
And you were acting like this and they're kind of beholden to you to do another one. But it's like, dude, you haven't gotten to the degree where, you're not Russell Crowe post 2 Oscars when you throw a phone at somebody.
Yeah. Right.
You haven't gotten the 2 Oscars yet. So you can't throw phones. And I'm not justifying him throwing phones, but he also got to a level of fame where he's constantly being hounded by paparazzi and he just snapped.
Right.
And just like, you're not handling the modicum of success that you've had so far.
Yeah.
How in the world are you going to do if this thing were to blow up and you become a huge star?
Great point.
Yeah. And then we're going to hang an entire series on you.
2.
That seems,
Fantastic Beasts and the Flash stuff. Yeah.
Well, is Fantastic Beasts a big series?
He's a big part of it.
He is, and that's the reason why we're doing today's show.
Yes, true.
Jude Law for the new Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah.
But when you say Fantastic Beasts, what is he, like the 5th name you think of?
I suppose you're right. Because I do think Newt, Eddie Redmayne,
and then
and I think Queenie and Kowalski Jacob.
Yeah, exactly. And now Jude Law, and then the love interest for Eddie Redmayne.
Yeah. So maybe he's a 6th or 7th name, I think.
Exactly. And then now I'm like, well, yeah, but then there was Colin Farrell and Johnny Depp.
Right.
And I think of them before I get to, and then maybe I get to Ezra Miller.
Even though he's an integral part of the first 2 movies, and certainly I saw the 3rd movie, he's a part of the integral part of the 3rd movie as well. I agree with you. He's not the name that sticks out for me. And he's never been, to be honest with you. Like, people are, you got to see him in Perks of Being a Wallflower. I'm like, I don't know.
That movie's actually really good.
Yeah.
I just thoroughly recommend that one.
Okay.
That is my favorite performance of his, but I don't have much to stack up against.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I like him as the Flash. I think he actually is really cool as the Flash. That's the sad part of it. I actually really do enjoy his portrayal of Barry Allen. The thing is, he's doing this, or he's getting caught up in all this shit right when they finish doing his film. And the film itself opens up a multiverse, which means they have the excuse to replace him by bringing in another Flash. And there's already these petitions that are going around, Matt, to get Grant Gustin from the TV Flash to replace him as a multiverse thing in the main universe timeline of the DCU. So
it just sucks that the 2 comic book franchises are both doing multiverse.
I know, right? Yeah.
It's like, God damn it, this is the worst of 2 volcano movies or 2 asteroid movies coming out at the same time. Now we're gonna have an entire franchises built around the exact same premise.
Yeah. I mean, for comic fans, I imagine it's great. For most of the public, I imagine they're like, okay, I got to build a fucking cork board, or I got to have some kind of poster board, or I'm putting in who's where and what.
Yeah, but they're both doing the exact same thing. There's no differentiation between the two, and it's not as though, I don't know. It did, even when they rolled this out in comic books, it wasn't like a, more often than not, a simultaneously, we're both doing our big crossover events at the exact same time using the same plot device.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that is the way it worked out. And I'm not saying that either of them is trying to copy the other or anything, because they both had these as pre-existing ideas and they're both good storylines.
Yeah.
I think right now Marvel's probably more committed to it, whereas if DC, if it flops at all, maybe they retack and do something else, whereas Marvel is full bore.
Yeah.
Everything is tying into this.
Yeah.
That is, at least I'm assuming everything is going to be tying into this next phase.
Right.
Yeah, I'll be intrigued. Are you liking Moon Knight so far?
I am. I'm a big fan of I got the comic books sitting right behind. I got comic books sitting right behind me. I'm a massive fan of Moon Knight. Been that way for a while. Sometimes you can get arrogant as a fan. You're like, I'm going to find that indie band and I'm going to really love that indie band. And for me, that's what Moon Knight's always been. He's like that indie character that no one really knows that much about. I used to be that way about Hellblazer too, until the movie came out and all this kind of shit. Not a lot of people were collecting Constantine books or Hellblazer books, and those were great, And so, but with Moon Knight, I was like, okay. So I wasn't sure how they were going to approach it. And the truth is, there's no definitive run for Moon Knight. So writers and creators of these Moon Knight runs have taken liberty with the canon or with the mythology of the character. And so for me, I like what they're doing here. It's a new role that Oscar Isaac has never played, that kind of nebbish, low status character who's constantly unsettled by everything. So it's nice to see him stretch as an actor. And I like the second episode. But we're at the point now where I need to see something big because
let's get to it.
Yeah, let's get to it. Right. Exactly. Right. There's only 6 episodes.
Yeah.
We've only done 2.
We've done 2 of the exact same episode.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So we've had 2 hours of the exact same. Am I going to do this? Am I not going to do this? Am I going to do this? Am I not? I'm just like, please get to fucking something. Because 6 episodes, that's not a lot of time compared to other series where you can slowly roll out a more complex idea.
Yeah.
But, I hope it ends up well. But right now I'm like, it's been okay so far. At least it's unique.
Yes, right. It's not necessarily tied into the overall MCU or needs to be at this point. So it's kind of it's allowed to breathe a little bit more.
And it's got its own mythology that it's using. And so that's cool. Trying to blaze its own path.
Do you think Shannon over at the Nerd Pals, he said to me, because I think
dork dudes.
Yeah.
Dork dudes.
The dork dudes, yeah. That they had to be. Do you think it would have worked better if both of those episodes had dropped on the same night? Do you think you'd have felt more satisfied?
Well, or would 2 hours straight of the exact same action over and over again?
Yeah.
I mean, to build up to the anticipation of this one, I was like, okay, they've laid the groundwork, but it was more a struggle of, let me take over. No, I can't let you take over. I need to take over. And it was like the second episode ends the exact same way the first one does, where he finally can't do it anymore. And he has to let the body, the interior presence, whomever that is, take over. And he gets cast to the shadow realm
right.
But I don't know. I'm hoping episode 3 actually finally breaks it open, because I was looking forward to it. It's like, oh, this would be interesting. Something different. And it's only 6 episodes. And then we got Obi-Wan right after that. So nice.
Yeah. Shit. And Ms. Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
In the corner as well. And then Doctor Strange, which is literally less than a month away.
That seems crazy. I mean, tickets went on sale yesterday.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I think my screening is 2 days before it comes out. I don't think they're doing screenings real early, except for the big press, So,
sure.
I'm hoping it's a good film, good experience. I'm a little nervous about it, to be honest with you, because they released the runtime. It's only 2 hours and 4 minutes or 5 minutes. And that seems like all the shit you're showing in the trailer. Do you think 2 hours is enough time to really do everything and give it its proper due? So I have my hesitation. So
I know. I mean, because now movies are more prone to being 2.5 to 3 hours.
yeah.
Because otherwise it's like, well, why not just put it out on streaming? You need to make it an event in order to justify people paying the money to go out to a theater. So the spectacle is part of what's drawing people in.
Yeah.
So we're like reverting back to Depression era cinema logic. Well, it's true, because otherwise I can sit at home and I don't need to spend the money or the time.
I'll see it in a month and a half.
Yeah.
I don't run a YouTube channel. I'll see it in a month and a half. Yeah. Regular folks. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with, do I think the premise could extend to 2.5 hours and I'd be fine with that? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. But
I mean, Batman wasn't even launching a universe necessarily. It just was a Batman story. And that was 3 hours.
Yeah. And I think honestly, they probably could have cut the Madison Square Garden stuff.
Yeah. That seemed like the stuff that was
it was tactical. It was fine. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it was bad for the movie, but it's like, if you want to end right there and then he goes to Arkham.
Yeah.
And we close on that, perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine. That's an excellent movie. Still an excellent movie. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's we need to justify, make it a huge spectacle.
Yeah.
Keep people out, keep people talking, buzzing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, but yeah, Moon Knight, I really hope it revs into gear sometime soon.
Yeah. It's only got 4 episodes left. That's crazy to think about, yeah. But I like what Oscar Isaac's doing. I like Ethan Hawke and I like the girl, Mia Kalamaui. I thought was a nice addition here, and she's not that experienced in terms of on-camera acting. So to go toe-to-toe with Oscar and Ethan, it's asking a lot of a young actress, and I feel like she's holding her own really well. But yeah, we'll see what the next 4 episodes give.
Yeah.
Give us.
I mean, we haven't seen much of her, but she did a fine job in episode 2. So
yeah. Are you watching Winning Time? Have you caught up on that?
I'm not caught up on this week's just because Catherine and I are watching it together, and she's been gone this week.
Is she joining? I was surprised that she'd want to watch it. Is she enjoying it?
I think it's an entertaining story. Whether or not she gets sucked into because I take it upon myself every once to explain certain things that they gloss over and be like, well, the reason this is this, and then I try and get in and get out quick because I don't want to disrupt the flow.
Right.
And sometimes they're like, oh, or an episode ends and be like, okay, well, you might see chatter about this section if you see it at all because of X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's into that. There's that new Gary Oldman show. I've seen the first couple episodes of that.
Oh yeah, Slow Horses. Yes.
It's not bad. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Intrigued to see where that goes. I haven't started Tokyo Vice yet.
That drops Friday, I think.
Is it Friday?
Okay. Yeah. So
yeah, she gets back today, so we can, because I got to catch up on Dropout, and We Crashed, and a couple other things.
Yeah. Dropout is so good. It ends good. I'll be curious to hear your thoughts on the finale, and and I'm enjoying We Crashed. Obviously, we're reviewing it over there at the HCA, so it's fun to watch that one. And I'm trying not to binge it because obviously we got the episodes ahead of time, but I'm trying to watch them week per week so I can get that experience of reviewing it without being tainted about having seen all the episodes ahead of time. So I'm like, I can review it more naturally and more purely for the channel, or else I would have blazed through them by now, because I do enjoy the show and I like the performances from Leto and Hathaway. And
I'm surprised. I thought after the first episode, I was like, man, Leto is taking another swing and a miss, and I'm actually enjoying. And then Hathaway from the last episode, I haven't seen this week's.
Yeah.
And she plays the delusion so well, it made me question as to why she took the part, just because it makes her seem so unlikable. And you're like, God, that's good acting.
Yeah. It's a good challenge for her too, because she's a good actress, obviously, and she's been awarded with an Oscar, but this is someone who's not that likable, and she's walking that line between being unlikable and then you kind of understanding where the genesis of this unlikability is coming from and what was going on in the past that has kind of motivated her to be so desperate to be a part of this. So it's a fascinating journey you're going on as a viewer as you're watching this and putting things in context. Some of her unsavory behavior, for lack of
I wouldn't say she's unlikable. I think she has a reputation amongst moviegoers of potentially not being liked.
Of being the theater kid. Yeah, I hear you.
Which I've never had a problem with. You know, she's always been good. I've always enjoyed her. But I have seen comments of people, you know, you make your snap decisions on celebrities.
Yeah, sure. But Dropout that's my favorite of them all right now.
Well, I watched the first of Super Pumped and I couldn't stand it.
What is that? I don't even know what that is.
That's the Uber with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. You know, I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt is not a lead at this point.
Ooh, strong statement. Okay.
What's the last thing he led? 500 Days of Summer that you liked? Like 50-50?
Yeah, I didn't see Don John or whatever.
No, neither did I.
Yeah.
But I tried to watch that Mr. Corman show or whatever, and I saw.
Oh God, that was terrible,
dude. I was rooting for his life to go bad. I'm like, what is this? What are we making here? I felt bad for the other dude that plays his roommate because I like that guy.
Yeah.
And I want to see him to continue to have shots. And you're like, fuck, that sucks that you were in this because this isn't going to really affect Gordon-Levitt more than likely in the short term.
Yeah. Oh, Snowden. I liked him in Snowden. I thought he was good in that.
Yeah,
The Night Before. I like The Night Before. But I hear you. Like, for the smaller films, he works. For the bigger stuff, or the TV series stuff, maybe he's not as interesting to follow. Yeah, because Corman doesn't really work.
No.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
Yeah, I tried it and I was like, oh, because I like to. I mean, Peacock's a new streaming service, so I was relatively new. So I'm like, okay, let's try. Like, I didn't like the fucking AP Bio one either with Patton Oswalt. I tried that. I was like, this is fucking stupid. Like, and then I haven't watched Abbott Elementary yet. Oh no, wait, that's Hulu. Sorry.
I watched the first of Abbott.
Yeah. Did you like it?
I didn't, but at the same time, comedy, you need to give them more.
Yeah, right.
They have to establish. You got to figure out how you're writing for the characters and the voices of all of them, and it takes a little bit. I mean, look at The Office season 1 versus season 3 or 4. Like Michael Scott's character in season 1 is completely different than season 2 and everything going forward because they've eventually figured out how to write for that character.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So after episode 1, I was like, it made me somewhat smile. I didn't ever laugh.
Yeah.
I felt a couple of the characters were just pure stereotypes. But it does really well. So I think maybe if you gave it enough episodes, it would grab you.
Yeah. Single Drunk Female just wrapped up. I can't recommend that enough to anybody who's listening.
I think Catherine watched that one.
It's so good. And then I tried the Craig Robinson one. Didn't like it.
Don't even know what that is.
It's one. He's a guy who's got a kid and he's not. I mean, like it's a divorced father. He's a divorced father and he's trying to pitch this product, but then he gets fired as a security guard at the bank. And he's desperate for money, so he becomes a guy who hunts snakes with this Australian actress. And it just wasn't funny. He's funny. I like Craig. I think Craig's got a great fucking energy. And he's so great on Brooklyn Nine-Nine when he does his recurring characters and, of course, in The Office. But I've not seen any show where he's the lead where it works. So I don't know what is missing there for him that they can't quite put a show together where it works for him to be the lead of the show overall because the show's constructed well.
Yeah.
And this one
didn't even know that show existed.
Yeah, it's on Peacock as well. And then the other one with Chris Redd and all them working in this casino. I tried that and I was like, this is no good either. So
I haven't seen that one. I'm trying to think what else. Severance, slowly working through. I like it, but it's just like I got to be in the right mood for it.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a great point. It's a lot, so you have to be in the right mood.
Yeah, there's certain nights where we've both been like, not tonight. And it's not a knock on that. It's just you have to pay attention.
Yeah,
it's almost like subtitles. But I think that the opening, because they change it by episode 2, once you understand the premise of the show, that opening is stellar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always appreciate that about a show when they really get themselves and they can deliver. It's like Game of Thrones with the map, and you see all the different stuff.
Oh yeah, right.
Just like
there's all the.
But it shows you like here are the locations of where we're going this season, and it changes from season to season.
Yep.
And you get little peeks as to what makes up those worlds, and be like, okay, that's an interesting way to kind of give us the geography without having to browbeat us and explain it in every episode.
Yeah, that's a great point. Absolutely.
All right, but
anyway, should we get into our?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right. We're doing here to the top 10 Jude Law movies today in honor, as Matt mentioned earlier, of Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore coming out. And I did my review on my channel. All I'll say is this: he is a huge part of the movie. He's really the central part of the movie. Him and Mads Mikkelsen and their relationship. So it's the title absolutely connects to what you're going to get in the film. So doing top 10 Jude Law movies makes a lot of sense for us. So
okay,
there we go. So Matt, how does the show work?
Let me ask you this: if you haven't seen the second one all the way through, does that impede being able to watch this one? I don't know that I'm going to see this one, but I turned the second one off.
Yeah, the second one's terrible. The only thing you need to know, if you don't mind having it spoiled, is that Queenie joins Grindelwald's cult, and Grindelwald is taking advantage of the fact that him and Dumbledore had a previous romantic
entanglement.
Entanglement, so lack of a better word. And they carry a kind of amulet or a thing that keeps them from attacking each other because they've made a spell to not fight each other.
Okay, so that's what that thing is.
Yeah, and that's basically what you need to know about it, because Newt and Tina didn't have that much to do in the second one. And then, of course, you find out who Ezra Miller is in the bloodline of the film, like who he's related to of the characters in the movies, in the franchise. Okay. So that's what you find out. And then, but you watch the third one, all of that kind of pretty much gets explained. So I think they knew that people were like not happy with that second one. And so they have an opening scene where everything is a back and forth where it gets revealed between Mikkelsen and Jude Law. So you should be good if you go see it. It's better than the second one, dude. I'll tell you that. It's not that much better, but it's better. Yeah.
It's not saying much.
Yeah.
And I didn't care for the first one at all. So
yeah.
Just so weird. You made a bunch of movies that we all agree are really good, and now it's moved on. It's unwatchable at this point.
That's a shame
for me.
They got to get her off the fucking thing. She's a terrible screenwriter, J.K. Rowling. She's fucking horrible. And Steve Kloves came in and did a better job with it, but overall the foundation is still J.K. Rowling's writing. And there's a reason they kept her away from the fucking Harry Potter films and had other people write those things, because they understand how to write for the screen. This is a hubris from her that is fucking unearned, and because she's never written a good screenplay before. And I don't get, and I imagine because she has the power, she forces WB
100%
to use her as the writer, and she 100%. Makes the money. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's a fucking shame.
Well, it's her baby. Nobody else is going to write her baby, and
right.
She's earned that right,
I guess.
These things are still making money, so they're not going to complain too much.
But why not be smart, sit back, get better writers, and you'll get the money anyway.
Who's a better writer than quite possibly the most profitable author in modern history?
Well, better screenwriter. I'll say this, because she's not profitable screenwriting wise. Well, I guess she is, but technically not creatively profitable, I guess I would say.
Well, according to the snooty critics.
Yeah, that's right. The snooty.
But the fans vote with their dollars, and the fans are saying it's good enough for us.
That means those Transformers films were well written. That's what we have to
concede. And Morbius.
Oh God, yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah, it made 40 million.
It made money.
It did. It did.
So ultimately, that's all that matters.
That's so true. So true.
All right, so we're here to do Jude Law. I do a bunch, he does a bunch, then we combine our lists.
There it is. Good. Well said.
Thank you.
All right.
So my 10, I've got I Heart Huckabees.
Oh, interesting. Okay, nice choice. Go ahead, man.
So it's a 10 because he's got a smaller part in it. It's an ensemble piece from David O. Russell.
Yeah.
You got Dustin Hoffman, Lily Tomlin, Mark Wahlberg, obviously Jude Law, Naomi Watts is
Yes,
in it.
Naomi Watts. Yes.
Is Catherine Keener in this?
Catherine Keener.
No, she's not.
I don't think so.
I can't remember who else. Anyway, so it's a huge ensemble cast. And if I tried to explain the basis of the plot, I think I would lose every person here. Because you got to kind of see it to
That's
really.
Good,
well, it just Hoffman and basically the Hoffman and Lily Tomlin like run a spiritual.
Yeah.
I don't want to say detective agency. That's not right.
No.
Like they're spiritual gurus.
Yeah.
But it's not like they're looking for spirits. It's more to work on your chakra and your aura and all that. But they don't use those words. And anyway, it's a weird and yet somehow compelling movie. And then when you look at the rest of David O. Russell's stuff, it kind of stands out.
Yeah.
Because it's the only one that doesn't deal in more concrete. Usually his stuff is like The Fighter.
Yeah. Right.
Or American Hustle, or it's like that's a David O. Russell, Three Kings.
Yeah, Three Kings.
Whereas this is, I don't know, it's more playful. And the funny thing is, it could be the most contentious set he's ever had that we know of, at least.
Yeah, if you watch those, those behind the scenes conversations.
Him and Lily Tomlin,
yeah,
yelling at him when she's sitting in the car, and then having a full-on screaming match when they're in some sort of office and Dustin Hoffman's just kind of sitting there.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's super crazy.
But I mean, George Clooney's got a good one from Three Kings set where he threatened to clock David O. Russell.
Yes, for talking down to an extra.
Yeah, it was an extra or a gaffer or somebody lower on the totem pole. So O. Russell's got a little bit of a history with all this stuff. I wish I could explain I Heart Huckabees better to you, but I think you really just need to see it.
Yeah, it's something to be experienced. It's a weird film, and it's certainly not for everybody.
No,
but I think everybody in the film is challenged in ways that they've not been challenged in any other movie in their careers. And Wahlberg is a really fascinating part of the movie. Jude Law is great, of course, obviously, but Wahlberg is also an interesting part of the movie and what he's tasked with doing. And this was still when Naomi was considered a kind of burgeoning lead as a female lead in Hollywood. So she's bringing. I
think she still is.
No,
I think we all agree
she has
she's
a movie
an excellent
out this
actress.
weekend. Have you seen her in it? Did you hear anything about it? She has a lead movie this weekend.
I loved it. It was great. It was amazing.
You don't know the name of it. You don't know the fucking premise.
How dare you?
Don't look it up.
Of course.
Look it up right now.
My hands are right here. All right. You would see me type. Here is my keyboard. I cannot look up anything. There's no, you will see me. There is no Googling happening because that is literally the keyboard right there.
What's the name of the movie? Do you remember?
Dude, define a woman for me. How dare you try and turn this back on me? We're not talking about me. We're talking about you.
Fair enough. All
right.
I feel gaslit.
So don't you spin your inadequacies onto me. Don't project them on fair. This way. All right.
Totally fair.
Anyway, loved it.
Yeah.
2 thumbs up.
I kind of want to see it because it's a mountain climbing movie. And I think both of us like mountain
that's
climbing
hers?
movies.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, I've seen the poster.
Storm. Yeah.
The fact that I haven't heard anything about it is not. Yeah, I love mountain. If there's a good one, and also when they're bad, I hate them.
Yeah, right? Because it's wasted potential of a good
it's
premise.
the worst.
Yeah.
The Vertical Limit is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in the theater, bar none. I fucking hate that movie.
Yeah.
But then Everest, I think, is excellent.
Everest is good. Yeah.
It's another crack at the John Krakauer, into thin air book.
Yeah, right.
But there have been several others. K2, huge fan of K2.
I like K2. Yes. Into the Void. I thought Into the Void was good.
Into the Void's good. And then there's a a million documentaries. I just watched Free Solo again like a couple weeks ago.
We got to watch it. We keep meaning to watch it. We've never watched it. Maybe we'll watch it on Sunday. Just fucking sit in the afternoon and watch it because I want to see that.
It's nuts.
I hear it's great.
Yeah, I wish I'd seen it in IMAX.
Yeah.
To watch somebody scale El Cap without any kind of safety harness, it's nuts.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So the premise of this one is, as an experienced climber, Naomi Watts, the character, ascends Mount Washington. She turns back before she reaches the summit as a huge blizzard approaches. But on her way down, she encounters a lone stranded man and takes it upon herself to get them both down the mountain before nightfall arrives and they succumb to the storm. It's based on a true story. So, but I don't recognize anybody in the cast other than her or the director. So I'd be curious to see it.
I think the fact that I'm the only person you know that's seen it isn't a good sign. I mean, I see everything that she does. So.
You do. I know you do. You're right. You're a big Naomi Watts.
Huge.
Let's see. Does it have a rating here? 55% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's not good. That's not good. So that's a shame. And the audience score is 55% as well. That is really not good. Yeah, she's not bankable anymore, man. Nobody goes to see Naomi Watts films, dude. Nobody.
Weirdly, though, I think Rotten Tomatoes is getting a little harsher than it's been in the past couple of years, because it used to be Metacritic was the really brutal. And if you could crack like 70 on Metacritic, that means you had a good movie or a good TV show. And they've been more generous as of late to movies that Rotten Tomatoes have just given full on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. Right on.
Like, I think Morbius is in the 30s for Metacritic, whereas on Rotten Tomatoes, it's like 16 or something ridiculous.
Wow. Okay.
Something like that. But there was a few examples lately, and I'm like, wow, Rotten Tomatoes used to be like pretty on the money for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think more people are, as they're allowing more people to come be a part of Rotten Tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're seeing harsher criticism of certain things overall, people's personal biases and what have you coming through. And that may be why. And you know what? I don't have a problem with that. I like it. I like a film to be and I think this is why fans are turning a little bit on critics and Rotten Tomatoes and all this, because they're like, it doesn't, you can't tell me what to watch, and there are still some critics. I mean, it's incredible. There are still some critics who tell you not to go see a movie. And I've always been antithetical. Well, not always, but like since I got in this business, I've been antithetical to that, because there are plenty of movies that you like that other people are not going to like, and vice versa. And so to tell someone not to go see it, I think is a mistake. Your review should be telling you to see it or not see it. That should be enough. You to overtly say it, I think is a mistake, in my opinion.
Yeah. I agree with you, but every person is different. So maybe in their viewership, they're just asking point blank, should I see this? Shouldn't I? And that's what they're known for. So it's like, go see it. Don't go see it.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying though, but it's also fan backlash is to when critics don't like a movie that they've been fanboying over.
Oh yeah. True.
Nobody's doing this for things that aren't pre-existing properties that didn't have hype built up around them.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So nobody did this for The Duke. It's like, how dare you not give that a glowing praise?
The Duke.
It's a good movie. The fact that it's like a 96 or something, I think is wildly excessive.
Yeah.
I think it's more like a 70, low 70s. Enjoyable, worth your time.
Right.
But I guess on Rotten Tomatoes, it's either would you recommend it, wouldn't you?
Right.
When it boils down to. So
would you recommend the Naomi Watts film? Is that what you're saying? You would?
Dude, I told you 2 thumbs up, buddy.
All right. Sorry about that.
2 thumbs up. Okay. All right, let's move on to my 9.
Yeah, please, because that is a long for a 10.
That was Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow.
Oh, that's all you, bro. Go ahead.
Honestly, I like it because they took a gamble. They made a choice.
Well, they took a gamble. All right. Yeah.
And I think his parts are really good in it. I buy him as the Sky Captain.
Okay.
It's an interesting world, kind of almost post World War One. Hey, if you had to guess what a future world war would look like, and you're
Yeah,
using like future tech,
yeah,
and you still have the specter of they're not Nazis, but think Nazis,
right.
and the Nazis get this kind of super tech thing. So it has this 19 or this Art Deco-y type of vibe. I guess that'd be
Mhm.
earlier, closer to the 20s.
Yeah, yeah.
To the overall, like it has a noirish feel, but it's all done in black and white. They've world built an entire world and
Yeah.
come up with new machinery and political interactions. And you got him and Gwyneth Paltrow
Yeah.
and Angelina Jolie. And
Oh yeah, I forget Jolie's in that. Yeah.
yeah, she's his former love
Yeah.
interest who's also like a pilot or something. And Paltrow's his newest, but anyway.
It's good casting, Matt, because all three of them look like they could totally live or have been stars in the 1930s and 40s when these kind of movies were made.
Yeah, I think for what it's aiming for, like I appreciate that it took all the swings that it took.
Yeah.
Does it land all of them? No, I don't think it's ultimately like the most successful movies, but I applaud the attempt.
Yeah.
And the uniqueness of it, because you could have come out with another just cookie cutter generic positing from that same era what the future war would be like. But I think given the noirish nature of it, still keeping in the Art Deco and all the futurism that they're trying to project from the idea of a previous onto what a future war would look like. I don't know. I just find it interesting. I have watched it a couple different times.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Do I think it's an excellent movie? No.
Right.
But I also excluded a few different Jude Laws because his part is so small.
Okay.
And I was like, I want something with a slightly larger part.
Okay. That's your list.
So it ends up, it was my number 9.
Fair enough. Okay. What's your 8?
My 8 is Captain Marvel.
Oh, yeah. Great choice. That's my 10. Nice. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, you said that like you forgot for a half beat that it existed or something.
No, I just.
Like
I thought it was going to be higher on your list. So respect.
I think it's a more successful movie than the previous two.
Yeah. Yeah. It's better
but
than people think. It's better than people think. I've been going back to see it as a third time. It's actually a lot better than people think. And I like him in that movie a lot.
Yeah, I think he's great in it. The weird thing is, I think Alison Brie is miscast.
Wow. So you're in that camp. Okay.
I think she's an excellent actress.
But do you think she's good in Endgame and in the Infinity with the subsequent other ones? Or do you think she's only good? Or do you think she's not good at either one?
I don't buy her in the action.
Okay.
I think she's good in the acting and all that stuff. But when it comes down to the having to battle, she still looks like she's learning it.
Yeah.
Whereas you watch, she's my go-to reference, but Zoe Saldana can kick anyone's ass, and I fully believe it because she's so excellent at it.
So true.
Yeah, and just like, man, you were really good at this action stuff.
Yeah.
It's just some people, but she's also had more cracks at doing it than Allison. So maybe in time, the next one she'll gotten better and I'll be more on board. I'm not anti her or the movie.
Right.
It just, when I saw it in the theater, it's like, man, I really don't buy you doing the action. And I like you a lot. And I was rooting for you in this. I still like the movie overall, but I thought the other woman who's Ms. Marvel coming up, I thought she stole the movie.
Oh, yeah. Wait, the young girl or the
other pilot, the mother?
Yeah.
That ends up in the Scarlet Witch show. WandaVision.
Right. That's not her. You know that, right? That's her daughter. The young girl in Miss Marvel is that girl grown up.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that's a different character. But that is her mom, who we see in the picture in WandaVision there on the wall. That is her mom who was in Captain Marvel.
That is my confusion.
Yeah, no, because it's set in the 90s, Captain Marvel. So that's the understandable mistake there, man. Yeah. What's her name? Tiana? Is it Tiana? Oh, no, Lashana Lynch, who was in the Bond movie recently in the No Time to Die. She's great as Maria Rambeau. Yeah. And then Monica is her daughter, who we see in WandaVision. It's funny, you can use people around too in that movie too. Like Gemma Chan is in that movie, and now she's not the same character, but she's the lead of the Eternals in essence. So it's fascinating how even within their own MCU, they can use the same actor over again for another situation.
Chris Evans.
Right. Well, he wasn't in the MCU. He was in a
Still a Marvel and a big Marvel character to some degree is Human Torch.
Yeah.
And then moving on to,
well,
but this has happened.
Michael B, same thing, right? Human Torch becomes Killmonger in Black Panther. You could argue that too.
Yeah. Shit, we were just talking about him. Full on blanking on his name, but he's Moon Knight. He was Apocalypse.
Oh, Oscar Isaac. Yeah.
Oscar Isaac.
Yeah.
And then, shit, wasn't he in another
Marvel movie?
Thought he was in 3.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I can't think of it right now because I'm rusty as fuck out of the Schmodown.
Yeah, because I think Patton Oswalt holds the record
for being in the most
most Marvel products.
Because
like Eternals and then MODOK and like he's got like all the different projects. He's a voice in this. I think he's got 5.
Is Sucker Punch Marvel? Is that why they say he's in?
No way, that's Marvel.
No, I only see Apocalypse, Annihilation, Eternity Life itself, Spider-Man. Oh, Spider-Man, I guess.
Oh yeah, he plays future Spider-Man. There you go.
Spider-Man 2099.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. There you go. So there's 3 Marvels for him.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah, I think Patton has the record with 5.
Oh yeah, with Blade Trinity. Ugh, that fucking film.
Yeah, you got Blade, you got MODOK, you got Eternals. There's one where he plays multiple of the same character, isn't there?
Oh, I don't know. I'm trying to click on his name, and IMDb is not letting me click on his name. Weird. Maybe such a big filmography, they can't fit it all. 228 credits as an actor. Holy fucking shit! That damn. This guy must be loaded, for God's sakes.
Well, I mean, don't you think the bulk of them are like his thing on Parks and Rec, where he shows up for one episode?
Yeah, I'm sure you're right, dude.
I would guess 100 of those are that. 45 of them are King of Queens.
Oh, right.
Although that would be listed under 1, I guess.
Right. So Blade Trinity seems to be the first one. This is a lot of. Maybe you're right. Maybe I don't see a lot of them, but maybe there's other things, because obviously he was in that animated one on Hulu where it was MODOK. Yeah, but that's DC, isn't it, or is that Marvel? That's Marvel.
That's Marvel.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. I still love him as the Penguin in those fucking Batman sketches. Jesus Christ, he's hilarious in that. Yeah, all right. I don't see too many of them. So, all
right. So Captain Marvel, that was my 8. You're 10.
Yes. So my 9 is Dom Hemingway.
That's a punt.
Ooh, nice. Okay, and then that was my 9 rather. My 8 is Black Sea, which is probably a punt.
It's also a punt.
Okay, I had a feeling. All right, let's go. What's your 7?
My 7 is probably a punt for you.
Okay.
Which is the talented Mr. Ripley.
Yes, it is a punt. Yes, it is. What's your 6?
All right. My 6 is Road to Perdition.
That's also a punt. What are you doing? I don't understand. I don't think you understood the assignment, man.
Well, his part is smaller in that. So that's how I came to that conclusion.
Okay. My number 7 is the first Sherlock Holmes.
What are we doing here today?
I asked you that question. Is that a punt?
That is a punt.
Okay. Then my number 6 is Cold Mountain.
I haven't seen it, so go for it.
Okay. Yeah, really good part from. Listen, you put at the time in my mind, you put Zellweger and Kidman in Law in a movie. I'm like, I don't want to see this fucking affected thing. And eventually, years later, I saw it and I was like, this is actually not bad. And the soundtrack is really fucking good. The music there is incredible with Alison Krauss and Sting and other people. But the performance of Jude Law here is really great, and what he's doing, trying to get back to Nicole Kidman, and what her and Renee Zellweger are trying to do there to make it possible for that to happen, and all the things he goes through. There's so much here in terms of the acting that I thought was really impressive from Jude Law. And he's not even the person they most talk about it when they talk about the movie. It's usually Kidman, Zellweger, and then Law. But I think Law does an excellent job with the part that he's given, and makes him a sympathetic guy, even though he does some stuff that's a bit, troubling to watch. I think overall he's just a great performance from him. And I don't know that he's done anything quite like it since or before. So I really liked what he did, because you got to be invested in the story. And if you're not invested in the character he's creating, then you don't buy his journey to get back and Kidman's affection for him. So if you don't like the guy, and they do kind of walk that line a little bit with some of the things he has to do, which I appreciate overall in the movie for sure. So that's why it's my number 6 and didn't make your list at all.
Yeah, I never saw it. And then looking over his IMDb, it's like, oh yeah, Cold Mountain. And I'm not going to, watch it for this week. Maybe one day I'll get to. I don't know. I remember like the lead up and its release.
Yeah.
And it just never grabbed me, but then it was up for awards.
Yes.
So it's like, maybe I should watch this, but the trailer, the description, I remember the marketing campaign, none of it grabbed me.
Yeah.
So I just never got around to seeing it.
And it's a good cast. I mean, Philip Seymour Hoffman's in this, Natalie Portman's in this, Giovanni Ribisi, Lucas Black, Donald Sutherland, Cillian Murphy. There's a lot of people in this. Ray Winstone.
And it was at the height of Weinstein's being able to get movies nominated for Oscars.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, this was like them moving out of just doing indies. This was a slightly larger in scope film. And
it was, yeah.
Yeah, I remember all of the buildup, and I don't know, something about it just didn't speak to me.
And Minghella, who did Talented Mr. Ripley and English Patient. So yeah, who has of course passed on, unfortunately or sadly. All right. So are we taking a break here, Matt? Are we gonna take a break?
Yeah, we'll take a quick break and then we'll jump back into our top 5s. So we'll see you guys in just a moment after we hear this word from our sponsors. All right, there we go.
Nice.
There are our bottom 5s, and our top 5s are starting now at 5. I've got Dom Hemingway.
Dom fucking Hemingway.
Because I think my expectation level was next to nothing.
Yeah.
Didn't even know it was coming out, and then saw it and was like, good for Jude Law. This is kind of somewhat a departure.
Yeah.
Massive. Put on a little bit of weight.
Yeah.
Plays a guy that just got out of prison and for not ratting out his accomplice, and he's trying to mend the relationship with his daughter.
Yeah.
Who hates him because had he narked on the other dude, he could have been out and been there for her childhood, and he elected to be a stand-up guy.
Yeah.
And basically gets out, and his world was supposed to be one way when he got out, and it starts to kind of shift and change.
Mm-hmm.
And he's always trying to rectify the relationship with his daughter. And ultimately, that's kind of what the switcheroo is. I like the ending. The ending's a nice little, just coda to it.
Yeah.
Just walking down the street, nice and quiet after all the bluster and everything else that he's experienced. And just to end it on that, I thought was a good punctuation to the film itself.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, because Emilia Clarke plays his daughter, of course, the actress from Game of Thrones and other things, and their back and forth is what kind of grounds the movie. But I've never seen Jude Law play a character like this, as you said, such a great step out of what we are normally seeing Jude Law play, which are these more reserved performers, reserved characters, not prone to emotion necessarily. And he is a live wire through this whole movie. Experiencing some of the most insane shit that a person can experience. But that moment when he comes out and kicks the shit out of his friend for having made moves on his wife or ex-wife, like, it is brutal. And then the whole scene with Richard Grant and the car accident and all that nonsense. It's crazy, this whole film. And the safe cracking scene, he's like literally humping the fucking thing. It is such a balls to the wall performance from Jude Law. It was great to see that he has this gear inside of him. Overall, it's not that well constructed of a movie because there's some weird shit that happened that goes off the rails. You're like, why is it? Am I dealing with reality or a fantastical reality here? I don't know. That's why it's a little bit lower on my list. But the performance from Jude Law is incredible, absolutely incredible. And you're right, that ending, actually, a really sweet ending. After all the madness of that movie, it has a nice, sweet ending. Yeah,
I think it's a good counterbalance to everything else that happened previously.
Yeah.
To see that maybe he'll be centered after all of this.
Yeah, right. Then maybe like finally,
it's
kind of calmed it down. Yeah,
he got the payday-ish at the end there.
Yeah,
and that's enough to get him away from that world.
Yeah,
and kind of recenter.
Yeah, right.
Maybe I think it's really good. It's worth a watch for sure.
Absolutely. All right, so that's your 5.
That is my 5.
So my 5 is Spy.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah, I like him in this movie. He is, as good as Melissa McCarthy is in the film, and she is excellent, and Rose Byrne as well. Jude Law playing the suave, debonair guy, and then who makes the turn, right? I mean, it's just a brilliant moment to see him play a villain in the movie halfway through the movie and do the villainous things that he does. So you're caught up in him being, wow, he actually could be a James Bond. You could see it happening in the first half of the movie. And then the switch there, which is really great, gives you a whole nother level that he's playing that is fun to explore with him as well, because he's so fucking charming. And you understand why Melissa McCarthy is so in love with him. And then when he makes the switch, why she's like constantly surprised it, doesn't want to accept it the whole back half of the movie until she's forced to do so. And look, Statham is great in the movie as well, but I really like what Jude Law does in the film, and I enjoy the film overall. I think it's one of these films that I absolutely thoroughly enjoy seeing whenever it's on. It's a comedy that totally works for me. I don't know.
Maybe I need to give it a second chance. I couldn't get through it. I turned it off after like 20 minutes.
Understood. It's such a British film.
Okay.
I'm just throwing it out there.
No, I just it was a whole bunch of fart jokes to open up, and then the rats, what were they, shitting on the cake? What were they doing to the cake? But there was no resolution or point to that, other than the gross out humor of it.
Yeah.
And I figured that would somehow tie in, and it didn't at all. And I was like, well, what's the fucking point of that? And it just kept doing that over, and I was like, I'm good.
Right.
But I am alone in my opinion.
Yeah.
Most people think it's one of, if not McCarthy's best.
Oh, yeah.
And Statham, it's good to see him.
Yeah, he's hilarious in the film.
Yeah, make a deviation from what you're assuming he always does. And so it's like the going against expectations. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I like her a lot. The weird thing is her comedies are mostly missed for me. I love her in dramatic. I love her in dramatic.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree with you, man. Most of her comedies are actually misses, especially because she works with her fucking husband who couldn't find anything funny if his life depended on it. Like, honestly, he's just not a good director, and he's not a funny guy. I think that's the crime.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's weird because I think she's funny to her core.
Yeah, agreed. 1,000%.
Like, go watch her on SNL.
Oh my God. It's so funny you bring that up. I've rewatched her Sean Spicer skits multiple times over the last few weeks.
Iconic.
Yeah. I mean, shoving and the one where she's like riding the podium, like she out on the road, going to Trump's tower to confront him about being replaced. Genius, absolute genius. The gum, the water gun, all of it. It's just so perfect. I think that's why you get Kate McKinnon playing Giuliani later on, having these women play the male characters. I thought was genius.
Well, yeah. for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe I need to give Spy another a chance.
Maybe. All right, what's your 4, man?
My number 4 is Contagion.
Go ahead, man. Knock it out. I figured it'd be on your list.
Not on there at all.
No, not on there at all. It's not a film I gravitate to. That's why. It's not because it's not a good film. It's just not one that I necessarily, revere that much. But I know people do.
So I put other movies of his lower on there because it's the ensemble and he is one part of. This one I elevated because he's kind of the different one
right.
in the mix.
Right.
Everybody else is like on the CDC side, or they're directly affected by the, like Matt Damon, directly affected, or Gwyneth Paltrow, Patient Zero.
Yeah.
And he is initially the muckraking journalist that turns more fake news.
Yeah.
And just wants the clicks and the views and all that. But to show the other extreme, and now that we've been through one of these, his piece is actually quite possibly the one that has the greatest effect on people outside of the virus itself and those that are working towards creating a vaccine, because they influence more people, whether or not they intend to. So to see that part of the prognostication in the movie, I think it has even more of a resonance now. So that's why I elevated it up. It's just like, wow, his small part in this, actually now having lived through a worldwide pandemic,
right,
has as great, if not a greater impact than a lot of the doctors that we should be paying attention to.
That's fair.
So for that reason, and I think the movie is great. I think he's great in it.
Yeah.
And watching it the first time, I thought was like, oh, that's an interesting part of the story. But I didn't think it was, an integral part.
Right.
And now having lived it, going, nah, actually, they could have fleshed that out a little bit more, to be perfectly honest, considering how much all of us had to deal with that on a day-to-day. And then the outrage to whatever they bring in, and then the outrage to the outrage, and then we got nothing else to do but then just yell at each other online.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive. So kudos to everybody on that one.
Fair enough. All right, so my number 4 is Closer.
Okay, go for it. I haven't seen that in so long.
Oh, man. Listen, I love this play. This play is brutal, honest, raw, ugly, and incredible. And I remember seeing it in London when we were there studying in 98, and I was just blown away by that fucking play. And so when it was becoming a movie, I'm like, oh, this is great. And then you see that Julia Roberts is cast. I'm like, man, fuck. But you see that Jude Law is cast. Clive Owen and Natalie Portman. And they all deliver phenomenal performances. I think Julia is the one that's kind of not quite there. But Jude Law's performance here is the kind of central character in the whole movie, because he's the one that kind of initiates the coming together of all these people in this foursome. I think he's great. The put upon journalist who is having a crisis of confidence, who finds this connection with Natalie Portman's character, which ends up driving Clive Owen. He ends up having the affair with Julia Roberts that ends up driving Clive Owen crazy. So Clive tries to get back at him by trying to have an affair with Natalie Portman, but which doesn't really affect Jude Law that much because he's just got his own compass that he's following here. The way he kind of navigates this film, to me, he's the best part of the movie. And as I said, it's a fucking great play, and the writing is there in the movie. They don't change much in the movie, but I think it's Jude Law is the one that really steps up to the plate, delivers the best performance of these and most correctly interpreted character of the 4 characters. And so it elevates the film for me, where it would normally maybe wouldn't have, if he didn't quite bring it up to snuff with his performance. I think the movie would be farther down the list for me. But because he brings such power and interesting choices and subtle movements emotionally within the movie, it's what makes it higher up on my list at number 4. So,
okay, maybe I need to see it again. It's been so long.
I'm telling you, Julia is the drawback in the film for me. But and Julia's delivered better performances and other things, especially recently, apparently. But I just don't think she's up to snuff. She's not a theater actress, and so it's not her thing, you know. And you see her kind of struggling with these moments and the way the script is written in these moments that just like, yeah, you weren't up to snuff. If that was Cate Blanchett, this would have been a fucking incredible movie. So, all right, what's your 3?
My number 3 is Sherlock Holmes: Game of Shadows.
That's my 3.
Yeah, I go back and forth between the two, which I prefer.
Yeah.
It comes down to a mood. So my list this time is this mood.
Yeah.
I know that the general consensus is it's not a good movie or it's mediocre.
Yeah, I don't get that. I love
me either. I think it's great. You built upon the world. Now you're bringing in Moriarty, and he's the amount of influence that he has in orchestrating a world war is kind of believable.
Yeah.
And I even like the ending of this, the ambiguity of what happens setting up a third one. Yeah. Hopefully they get into that in the next one. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's really good.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to top the first one for me. And yet on some level, depending on the day, I think it's better. Other days, I'll take the original.
Yeah, I agree with you. Right. Because I mean, the Noomi Rapace stuff is the stuff that gets a little wonky. Like I think could keep people from 100% liking this movie. But I think the reason I put this one higher than the first one for me on my list is because Jude Law has more to do in this one. The stuff with his wife, played by Yellowstone's Kelly Riley, I think her name is, and the pushing back on Holmes even more strongly throughout the movie. His reaction is the audience's reaction when they go over the side, Moriarty and Holmes, and it's great. So I think he's more active in the second one, which is why I put this one a little bit higher. And I appreciate that. And I like that they let, it's Robert Downey Jr., but you don't cast Jude Law as a secondary character and not let him have, real time to shine. And I think they understood this was a two-hander, so to speak, in the sequel. And they had to take advantage of Jude Law being there as Watson to give him more to do. And they did. And I thought it was great what he did all throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, they create more of somewhat of an equal footing between the two of them.
Yes.
It's still Holmes running the show, and Watson is understanding of that, but he doesn't look down on Watson.
Right. Yeah. Holmes is aware of how integral Watson is to his shit now.
Yeah. And the things that he is good at versus what Holmes is good at.
Right.
Holmes is just better at detective work and what a lot of these things delve into, the stories.
And I would argue we haven't seen that. Only really one other time is Elementary, where they're kind of on equal footing. I don't think Martin Freeman and
I don't think him and Cumberbatch. No.
Yeah, I don't think they're on equal footing in Sherlock, but I think in Elementary, Lucy Liu and Johnny Lee Miller are.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah. But it's really good. And you're right, man. That ending when they're playing the chess and he's doing the visualization thing, and then when he kind of completely undercuts Moriarty by not going the way he thinks he's going to go. It's brilliant. And they have between each other and the quickness with which they go over. Fucking genius by Guy Ritchie, man. It works so well. It's not drawn out. That's shocking.
Yeah. I even love the Stephen Fry.
Oh yes.
As a brother.
Yes.
Yeah. Minecraft. Such a great, when I saw him, I was like, I always love Stephen Fry.
Yeah.
He just has a likability that's pretty hard to match.
Yeah.
But even that, so like I just rewatched, not because of this, but like a week ago or a week and a half ago, the first one.
Oh yeah.
Because I hadn't seen it forever. But I think 6 or 8 months ago, I watched Game of Shadows. I think it really comes down to whichever I'm in the mood for. Lately, I've been more in the mood for the first one.
Yeah.
But if we did this in a year's time, I might put Game of Shadows higher. And upon looking up, his filmography to see, most people thought it was blah. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, it was surprising. It really is.
What movie did you see?
Yeah, quite a few people too. I mean, even in my sphere, I see some people kind of put it down. I'm like, I don't understand. So. All right. So what's your 2?
My 2 is Black Sea.
Wow, Matt. Woof. Okay,
Come
go
on,
ahead.
it's excellent. It's excellent.
It is a good movie.
It is an excellent movie.
Yeah.
But you really, I mean, so long as you're into submarines, which I am.
I love that as a disclaimer.
Well,
It should be on the poster. If you're into submarines, this is your movie.
I mean, I think you could not be into, but the tension of having to be in that world is a very specific type of movie.
Totally. Absolutely agree with you.
So you need to like that. And they're trying to get Nazi gold.
Yeah.
That has been marooned on the bottom of the ocean. And if they don't get it now, it's going to slip over this trench and go into an area that they'll never see it again. And it's a boatload of money. And how everybody kind of turns on themselves when greed begins to set in. It is really believable.
Yeah.
And you get a menacing performance from Mendelsohn.
Yes. Yeah.
Which you could say in a lot of movies, but it's really believable. And the weird thing is, it starts off, you hate him, and then you kind of like, hey, it's not so bad, technically speaking here. All things considered, the way everything shakes out, and be like, maybe Mendelsohn wasn't the worst.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jude Law it's always, he plays someone that's kind of doesn't want to go back to this world, and this is kind of one last score.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to do this anymore.
Right.
And you go on this journey to figure out if this score is going to be enough to get him out or not.
Yeah.
And what the sacrifice of living a life like this has led to, the collateral damage in his personal life.
Yeah.
And then what kind of damage that could project outwards for the future.
Right. Right.
Do my best not to spoil here. Because most people have not seen this movie.
Yeah.
It did nothing at the box office. And I would imagine most gloss over it when they scroll through his filmography.
Yeah.
And I think it's really good. I think you should see it.
I agree with Matt. I agree with Matt and everything he said. It's a damn good movie. I just think it's overall, I don't know. I just think these other films are a little more well constructed, a little more bigger in terms of their scope. So
sure.
That's why I have it lower. But you're making me rethink things. Maybe I'll move it up higher by the time we put this thing together. So we'll see. My 2 is the pun from earlier, Talented Mr. Ripley. I just like him in the movie. And this is he's Dickie Greenleaf, he's like just the pampered guy, but he's got this charm and this charisma to him. It's such an introduction to Jude Law. This is Jude Law in his young prime, man. He looks so good.
Oh, yeah.
In this movie. And
can't think of a thing that he was in before this.
Right. Yeah. And you look at him, you're like, wow, like who is this guy? Right. And then when he makes that turn on Matt Damon and fucking berates him and all the stuff he does. And then when he's getting killed, the kind of desperation when it's happening is really powerful too. So I just enjoy him a lot in this movie. And because I think it's his first film that, really kind of brought him to prominence, I moved it up higher in my list because I think it's the one that kind of announced to everybody, hey, this is a guy who's going to be working for quite some time. Y'all need to get used to it, and I just thoroughly enjoy him in the movie. And the way he's in control in a lot of these scenes of the interactions, even while he's having like these moments with Matt Damon's character and these moments where, they're being friends, there's like this little extra sinister side of things right on the edges that he's playing that I think is really good. And he knows where Matt Damon's character lies on the social strata with him, and he's allowing him to be around.
He's toying with him.
He's toying with him. Yes. The whole time he's essentially toying with him because he thinks at any point he can just yank the string.
He's a fun plaything. And then once that plaything gets boring and dull, he just wants to cast him aside. And Damon has other plans.
To say the least.
He has certain ideas that I just put it lower because Jude is huge in it, but I think of it as a Damon kind of tour de force almost performance.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I also don't go back to rewatch it. It's nothing against it. It's just like I've seen it,
right,
and I'm good.
Which do you prefer? Gwyneth Paltrow reacting to Dickie Greenleaf, finding out what happened in this movie, or Contagion, Gwyneth Paltrow, when she realizes she's going to die. Which is the better reaction?
Well, I think Contagion was more satisfying because she had already gooped it up by the time Contagion came around. Couldn't remember that she had done a movie with Sam Jackson, even though Sam Jackson is the linchpin of the Marvel universe outside of Robert Downey Jr. and just like, I don't know, those of us that follow a lot of the movies that she's in and she's part of our lives, to see her die in Contagion was like, that's kind of satisfying on some level. I don't wish her ill like that.
Of course not. But I mean, what this Paltrow family is an interesting family, Matt. Coming out of
to say the least.
I mean, there's a lot of grifting in that family, and I would argue Goop is a bit of grifting itself.
It's modern snake oil salesman.
Yeah, they're snake. Yeah. That's better. They're snake oil salesmen. Goop is a snake oil. I mean, the fucking whatever that is for the cakes, that
the jade egg.
Yeah, the egg.
The vagina candle. That's like somehow some actual part of something to do with the vaginas in the candle or something.
That's ridiculous. And then you have the Bruce. We find out her uncle. All the tax fraud that he committed and the cancer charity, and now Rebecca Newman, her cousin, being a part of WeWork, which was a big old scam as well. So yeah, just crazy.
Was it a scam or was it just a flawed business idea? I have not seen this week's.
Okay. All right.
But it seems more like just an inherently flawed. The guy that keeps pulling Edwards aside at the investment firm and was like,
Cameron. Yeah.
Why does this make sense?
Yeah.
Please explain to me. The English guy.
Yeah. He's great, Cameron. Yeah.
Please explain to me. I think that's the business of, we need to keep growing until eventually we are the market, and be like, even if you do that, this is unsustainable.
Yeah. But I mean, in the movie, or in the show rather, she is, she plays victim when it's convenient, and then
of course,
and then plays snooty a-hole when it works for her.
Yeah. When America cuts her down, that was beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Oh yeah. Oh, it was great when she.
Yeah. You are nothing. Yeah. Your husband is the entire. He has the shine. He has the magic. Yeah. You are nothing, and you just destroyed. And be like, yeah. That seems about right.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah. So, snake oil salesman. Oh, maybe. All right. So, what's your one?
My one is the first Sherlock.
Oh,
that's
okay.
The punt from you earlier.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, those are two of my faves of his.
Yeah.
Huge part of them. Just rewatched it the other day. Really good.
Did you talk this way? Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
You bumping that Contagion up? Is that what you're doing?
Contagion's not even on.
You should bump it up. That and the Naomi Watts movie. I think both of those should make your list.
Yeah. Well, that's yeah. All right.
Two thumbs up, man. I don't know. That's the best review you're ever going to get for that.
All right. I made my adjustments. Go ahead. Yes.
To take two characters that we already know and known for a long time and see various iterations of it, and they both made them their own. But on some level, I was almost slightly more impressed with Jude's, because Watson has always been like I don't really care if you're there or not. Right. I just want to focus on Holmes. And he made such a great counterpart to Sherlock that I really wanted to see them charge into every situation together.
Yeah.
And I didn't mind it if they were doing things solo, but I more thoroughly enjoyed it when they were doing it as a team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a better expression of what was initially intended through all the stories of you need the two individuals as a complementary force in all these. Yes, Sherlock's going to get all the shine, but when you see what Watson brings to the table, which is someone who's capable and can hold themselves in a fight, he has the intellect, but his mind doesn't work the same way as Holmes is putting together like all these disparate pieces to find things.
Yeah.
But he provides a stability that Holmes desperately needs.
Yeah.
Because without him, he would just spin off and end up like probably a hermit withdrawn in his own world.
Yeah.
And forcing him into change and confrontation, I think, is ultimately good for Holmes. And you need someone like Jude Law to bring the strength of Watson's character to life in order for you to see, it makes more sense when they're butting heads, kind of dynamic and pushing one another.
Yeah. I think for me, the first movie, he's a complimentary character who constantly, I guess for the majority of the film, he kind of goes along with what Holmes is doing. And I feel that there's more battles in the second film, which is why I put it higher in my list. But it doesn't mean he doesn't have those moments with Holmes where he's calling him out for certain things.
Are you trying to have your cake and eat it too here?
Kind of a little bit. Maybe I've got nothing to say. Maybe
you're talking a little bit. So that's fine if you prefer the one over the other. That's cool.
No, you're right. God damn it. All right, fine. I'll take my lumps.
But your number one it's an excellent movie.
Thank you. Road to Perdition.
It's awesome.
He's just so memorable in the film.
He is.
And look, you've got Tom Hanks in this movie. No one else should be memorable.
I would say this much. Daniel Craig is forgettable.
Yes. Sometimes you forget Paul Newman's in this movie too.
Oh, you get the fuck out of here. You forget Paul Newman's in this film.
I could go.
Daniel Craig, 100%, because for the longest time, I didn't even know that was somebody until he became Bond.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't seen Layer Cake or anything else. But his part is just so small. That's why I had it lower.
Yeah.
It is indelible, and he is creepy as hell.
Yes.
Especially when the crime scene photograph, the first one he's taken, the dude's not dead.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
It is. It's excellent. And it gives you, without saying a word, it tells you everything you need to know about that character.
Yep.
It's really well done.
Yeah. So, I like his performance in the movie. And look, the movie, I know a lot of people's not everyone's favorite movie, but I think he's an essential part of that movie. You have to believe that this thing coming after him is relentless, right? I mean, he handles Paul Newman halfway through the movie, a little over halfway through the movie, and his henchman, but it's this one guy that is relentless and is the one guy that ends up catching up to him. There has to be, because without him, Michael gets away, or Tom Hanks' character gets away, and he shouldn't get away because he's a hitman.
Yeah.
And so the comeuppance is there. It's a noble comeuppance, but it wouldn't happen without this guy just overcoming all kinds of shit to be in that position to possibly get the best of Tom Hanks and his son. And I love that. He's just dogged through all the glasses, the scars in his face, all of that. It's just such a brutal performance from Jude Law. He's cold in a way that you've never seen him in anything else.
Yeah, he's beyond cold,
Yeah.
He looks almost inhuman.
Yes,
when you look
inhuman. Yes.
Yeah, when you look into his eyes, it's the black doll's eyes of a great white. You're like, there's no soul behind it.
Yeah, exactly. Which is not an easy thing to do.
No, especially for someone as good looking as he is and just like flashes charm somewhat effortlessly.
Yeah.
To go fully against that grain.
Yeah.
And good for Mendez, casting.
Yeah.
Knowing that you get that.
Oh my God, yes. 1,000%. All right. Well, there you go. There's our separate lists for the top 10. I'm going to yank out the drums here as we put this stuff together.
Guys, that is a euphemism if I've ever heard one. And he doesn't have his headphones in. So what do you think yank out the drums means in John's world? I guess we'll find out in a minute here, but I'm guessing it is some pretty kinky stuff. And then once he puts those headphones on, we're going to act like we didn't have this discussion. Clock is ticking, though. He hasn't done it yet, and done. All right.
Sorry about that. So I moved Sherlock Holmes to 5, Black Sea to 7. That's the moves I've made here.
Okay. Well, let's see. All right. So Sherlock Holmes is at 5?
Yes.
All right. So that would make Sherlock number 1.
Okay.
And Road to Perdition number 2.
Okay. That's fair.
All right. You said Black Sea at 7?
Yeah.
That's 2, but we have Game of Shadows.
I have it at 3.
Yep, we both have it at 3. So I think Game of Shadows is number 3.
Okay.
And two sevens got to beat anything else we have. Where do you have Ripley?
2.
Oh, so we got a 2-7 versus a 2-7.
Ooh.
Flip a coin.
What's the other 2-7? Holmes?
Black Sea.
Oh, Blacks.
You said you moved that up to 7, right?
You flip a coin over that and Talented Mr. Ripley. Okay. Wow.
Yep. Yeah, I will.
$5 in a film made for $7 million with incredible cinematography.
Black Sea is gorgeous cinematography, is it not?
You know what?
Those underwater shots, like you see the mud, the detritus on the bottom, you believe that they're down there. Good on you. Most people don't point that out.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, look at that. Talk shit, get hit. Black Sea.
Son of a bitch. Ridiculous. All right, keep going.
All right, so that means Talented Mr. Ripley is number 5.
Okay.
We both have Dom Hemingway and Captain Marvel, and I think that's the last of our commonality.
Yeah. Let's see. Dom Hemingway is my number 9. Captain
That's
Marvel
my
is
5.
10.
8
So I
and
guess
10.
if it's your 5, we move it up, right? It should be next, then I imagine. 5-9 is still in contention because it's 5.
You just want to do your next highest at this point, and then we can do.
Yeah. So Perdition's there, Ripley is there, Game of Shadows is there. So then Closer is my 4.
Oh, look at that! My number 4 is Contagion.
All right. How many spots we got left?
We have 4 spots left: 7, 8, 9, and 10.
All right, let's do it.
We'll do Closer there because I won the last coin flip.
Okay, fair enough. That's very kind of you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, why don't we do Captain Marvel at number 9?
Okay.
And we have 1 spot left.
Okay.
And what's your highest available? Mine is number 9. Spy it is.
Wow, nice. All right. Are we ready?
Yep.
The top 10 Jude Law movies, yeah. At number 10.
Spy.
At number 9.
Captain Marvel.
At number 8.
Contagion.
At number 7.
Closer.
At number 6.
Dom Hemingway.
Dome fucking Hemingway. At number 5.
The Talented Mr. Ripley.
At number 4.
Black Sea.
At number 3.
Game of Shadows, or Sherlock Holmes Game of Shadows.
Number 2.
Road to Perdition.
And our number 1 Jude Law movie is
Sherlock Holmes.
Hello. Elementary, my dear Watson.
Sherlock Holmes, baby.
Nice stuff. Okay. There you go. There's our top 10 Jude Law movies.
There it is. We are done. Hopefully, Fantastic Beasts is good. If you guys enjoy it, let us know.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear it. And if you would like to interact with us, you can do that on Twitter at Top 10 Show, all spelled out. Otherwise, you can do it on Instagram or YouTube. It's / The Top 10 Podcast with the number 10. And we'd love to see you at any of those. And if you'd like to become a patron, head over to patreon.com / The Top 10.
Yeah.
And hit us up. And you can follow me anywhere at Matt Nost. If you want some more sweet movie action from me, check out Settle the Score. Or if you want some NBA discussion, check out Dropping Dimes. But you can get those anywhere you get podcasts or on YouTube. So that is it for me.
There you go. For me, you can follow me at The Roca Says on Twitter and on Instagram and TikTok. The Outlaw Nation on Twitch, doing a lot more on Twitch. So come and follow me there as well. And my YouTube channel, youtube.com / John Roca Says, for all your entertainment content going on the YouTube channel. Some new shows. One new show is going to be announced soon to add to the lineup with another heavyweight co-host. So I'm looking forward to announcing that very soon. So come be a part of all of that and my other podcast as well. The Cinephiles and the Geek Buddies out there, the Nerd Pals, as Matt likes to call
Dork Dudes.
There you go. The Dork Dudes. All right. All right. Thank you all so much for enjoying another episode of the Top 10. We love you madly. And we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode here from those of us at the Top 10. Take care. Peace.